Take a quiet moment and think about the last goal you set for yourself. Maybe it was learning English. Maybe it was improving your career, getting healthier, or becoming more confident in your daily life. At the beginning, that goal probably felt exciting. You imagined a better version of yourself in the future. You felt motivated. You felt hopeful. You told yourself, this time, I will really do it. But then, slowly, something changed. Life became busy. Your routine changed. Your energy dropped. Your motivation disappeared. The goal stayed the same, but your daily actions did not. Days passed, then weeks, and eventually, the goal faded into the background. If this sounds familiar, there is something very important you need to understand. This is not a personal failure. It does not mean you are lazy. It does not mean you lack discipline. This is a very common human pattern. The real problem is not you. The real problem is the way we think about goals. In this episode of Fluent English Journey, we are not going to talk about how to set better goals. Instead, we are going to talk about why you should stop focusing on goals completely and start focusing on one powerful idea. That idea is the micro-habit. This small change in thinking can completely transform how you improve your English and how you grow in any area of your life in 2026 and beyond. First, let's understand why goals often feel inspiring but fail to create real change. Goals live in the future. They describe a result you want later, not an action you take today. When you say, I want to speak English fluently, your brain hears something big, distant, and unclear. Fluency feels far away because it is far away. Your brain then waits for motivation. And when motivation disappears, action stops. Another problem with goals is pressure. Big goals create emotional weight. Every day, you start judging yourself. You ask questions like, am I good enough? Why am I not improving faster? This pressure creates anxiety. And anxiety makes learning harder, especially language learning. Now, let's talk about micro-habits. A micro-habit is a very small action you repeat every day. It is so small that it feels almost too easy. It does not depend on motivation. It does not require confidence. It only requires consistency. For English learners, a micro-habit might be listening to English for 3 minutes every morning. Saying one English sentence out loud each day. Writing one short thought in English before going to bed. These actions are not impressive, but they are powerful. The real magic of micro-habits is that they focus on identity, not results. Instead of saying, I want to be fluent, you start acting like someone who uses English every day. Over time, your identity changes. You stop seeing yourself as someone who is trying to learn English. You start seeing yourself as a person who lives partly in English. This is how real progress happens. Let's compare two learners. The first learner sets a big goal. They say, I will become fluent in 6 months. They study hard for 2 weeks. They watch long videos. They memorize long word lists. Then life interrupts. They miss a few days. They feel guilty. Slowly, they stop completely. The second learner does something different. They choose one micro-habit. Every day, they listen to English for 5 minutes. Even on busy days, they do it. Even when they feel tired, they do it. After a few months, they have listened to hours of English without stress. Their listening improves naturally. Their confidence grows quietly. They don't feel dramatic progress every day, but real change is happening underneath. This approach is especially important for advanced learners at C1 and C2 levels. At this stage, progress is slow and subtle. You are no longer learning basic grammar. You are refining tone, clarity, rhythm, and confidence. Big goals feel frustrating because improvement is not visible day to day. Micro-habits solve this problem. Instead of saying, I want to sound like a native speaker, you choose one small daily action. Shadowing one short audio clip. Reading one paragraph out loud with clear pronunciation. Recording yourself speaking for 1 minute and listening back without judgment. These small actions train your brain and your mouth gradually. They remove pressure and replace it with calm repetition. Another powerful part of micro habits is trust. You trust the process instead of forcing results. You stop asking, "Is this working?" every week. You understand that consistency creates change, even when you cannot see it yet. This mindset is essential for 2026 and the future. The world is fast. Information is everywhere. Motivation comes and goes quickly. The people who improve are not the ones with the biggest goals. They are the ones with the smallest habits done daily. Now, let's make this practical. If you are listening to this episode, don't ask yourself, "What is my next big English goal?" Instead, ask one simple question: what is one small English action I can repeat every day without stress? Your micro habit should be clear, measurable, easy to fit into your life, independent of perfect conditions. For example, every morning, I will listen to English while making tea. Every night, I will say 3 English sentences about my day. When the habit feels boring, that is a good sign. Boring habits are sustainable. Sustainable habits create transformation over time. Micro habits stack naturally. 5 minutes becomes 10 minutes. One sentence becomes a short paragraph. Confidence grows quietly without pressure. This is why the micro-habit approach works when goals fail. You are no longer chasing a future version of yourself. You are building that version through daily action. And as we continue this episode, we will explore how to choose the right micro-habit for your personality, how to stay consistent without motivation, and how micro-habits can help advanced English learners finally break the plateau. This is not about doing more. It is about doing less every day. Let's continue by slowing everything down and looking deeper at why micro-habits work so well psychologically. When you repeat a small action every day, something important happens in your brain. That action starts to feel normal. It no longer feels like effort. It no longer feels like studying. It simply feels like part of your daily life. And this is powerful. The human brain naturally resists big changes, but it accepts small ones easily. When people say, "I don't have discipline," what they usually mean is, "I don't have the energy to force myself into big actions." Micro habits remove the need for force. You are not pushing yourself. You are not fighting resistance. You are gently guiding yourself. This difference may sound small, but it changes everything. Think about how children learn their first language. They don't set goals. They don't track progress. They don't worry about mistakes. They hear the language every day. They repeat small sounds. They make mistakes without fear. And slowly, naturally, fluency appears. Micro habits recreate this environment for adult learners, but in a realistic and practical way. Now let's talk about consistency, because consistency is the real engine behind progress. Many learners believe intensity is more important than consistency. They think studying 3 hours once a week is better than studying 10 minutes every day. In most cases, the opposite is true. Daily contact with English keeps your brain connected to the language. It keeps neural pathways active. Even short exposure prevents forgetting. At C1 and C2 levels, consistency matters even more. You already understand English well. What you need now is refinement. Refinement does not come from studying harder. It comes from repeated exposure and repeated use. Micro habits give you this repetition without mental exhaustion. Now let's look at a very common problem advanced learners face. Many learners say, "I understand English perfectly, but I can't express my thoughts clearly." In their mind, ideas feel complex and deep. But when they speak, the words feel limited or awkward. This gap is frustrating. And over time, it becomes discouraging. Micro habits can close this gap. One very powerful micro-habit is daily verbalization. This means choosing one idea from your day and explaining it out loud in English. You don't need an audience. You don't need perfect grammar. You simply speak. You might talk about a decision you made, a problem you noticed, an opinion you formed. This habit trains your brain to organize thoughts directly in English, not translate from another language. Another effective micro-habit is sentence upgrading. Each day, you take one simple sentence and make it slightly more advanced. For example, I was tired today becomes, I felt mentally exhausted after a long day of work. This trains precision and flexibility. It also improves vocabulary in a practical way. Many learners make the mistake of collecting vocabulary instead of using it. They write lists. They memorize definitions. Then they forget. Micro-habits focus on usage, not collection. When you use a word in a sentence about your own life, your brain stores it differently. It becomes active knowledge, not passive memory. Now let's talk about motivation. Many people think micro-habits require motivation. The truth is the opposite. Micro-habits are designed to work when motivation is low. On days when you feel inspired, you can do more. On days when you feel tired, you still do the minimum. This protects the habit. A helpful idea here is the minimum rule. Decide the smallest version of the habit that still counts. For example, your rule might be, I will speak English for 1 minute. Even if you stop after 1 minute, you succeed. Success reinforces identity. Identity reinforces consistency. This approach removes guilt. You stop feeling like you failed because you didn't do enough. You start feeling successful because you showed up. And showing up is the real win. Now let's connect this idea to confidence. Confidence does not come from knowing more English. Confidence comes from repeated experiences of using English without negative consequences. Each micro-habit is a small positive experience. Over time, your brain learns one important lesson. English is safe. Fear slowly decreases. This is especially important for learners who feel anxious when speaking. Anxiety usually comes from pressure to perform well. Micro-habits remove performance. There is no audience. There is no evaluation. There is only practice. Let's also talk about listening habits. Many learners listen passively. They play English in the background while doing something else. This can help a little, but at advanced levels, it is not enough. A better micro-habit is focused listening. You listen to a short audio clip and pay attention to rhythm, stress, tone. You notice how ideas connect. You don't need to understand every word. You need to understand how the speaker thinks. Another strong habit is re-listening. You listen to the same short content multiple times on different days. Each time, you notice something new. This deepens comprehension and improves intuition. Now, let's address one final concern: time. Many people say, I don't have time. And this is exactly why micro-habits matter. Micro-habits respect real life. They do not ask you to create extra time. Instead, you attach the habit to something you already do. This is called habit stacking. For example, you listen to English while walking. You speak English while cooking. You think in English while waiting in line. Because these actions already exist in your day, the habit fits naturally. This removes the excuse of time. English stops feeling like an extra task. It becomes part of your life. And over time, something very important happens. Your relationship with English changes. You stop seeing English as a school subject. You stop treating it like homework. You start seeing English as a tool. A tool you use to think. A tool you use to reflect. A tool you use to express who you are. This shift is one of the clearest signs of advanced proficiency. Now let's talk about mistakes, because many advanced learners are afraid of them. At higher levels, mistakes feel more embarrassing. You feel like you should already know better. This mindset quietly blocks progress. Micro habits normalize mistakes. When you speak every day, mistakes become routine. They stop feeling dramatic. They lose their emotional power. Instead of feeling ashamed, you start noticing patterns. You see which errors repeat. And this awareness leads to improvement without stress. Another powerful benefit of micro habits is adaptability. Goals are rigid. Habits are flexible. If your life changes, your habit adapts. If you travel, you still do it. If you are busy, you still do the minimum. This flexibility keeps you moving forward, even during difficult periods. Now let's look at 2026 and beyond. The way people learn is changing. Information is unlimited. Courses are everywhere. The problem is no longer access. The problem is consistency. Micro habits solve this modern problem. Instead of consuming more content, you consume less, but use it more deeply. You focus on action instead of accumulation. This is what leads to mastery. For C1 and C2 learners, this approach is especially powerful. You already have the foundation. You do not need endless explanations. What you need is integration. Micro habits integrate English into your thinking and daily life. Now imagine yourself 1 year from now. You did not chase big goals. You did not wait for motivation. You simply showed up every day for a few minutes. You spoke. You listened. You reflected. Now English feels natural. You don't panic before speaking. You don't translate as much in your head. You trust yourself. That version of you is not created by motivation. It was created by repetition. Now let's talk about thinking in English. Many advanced learners still translate in their head, even at C1 or C2 level. This is completely normal. But translation can slow down speaking and make expression feel heavy. The goal is not to stop translation by force. The goal is to reduce it gently. Micro habits support this process because they train your brain little by little. When you think in English for just a few minutes every day, your brain starts choosing English automatically for certain thoughts. At first, this happens with simple ideas. Over time, it happens with more complex thoughts. One very effective micro habit for this is narration. Narration means describing what you are doing in your mind in English. For example, I am opening my laptop. I need to reply to this message. I should take a short break now. These sentences are simple, but they build a direct connection between action and language. Another helpful habit is reflection. At the end of the day, think about one moment that stood out. It could be a conversation, a decision, a feeling. For example, today I felt proud because I finished my work on time. I felt frustrated when the plan changed suddenly. This practice strengthens emotional expression in English, which is essential at advanced levels. Now let's talk about clarity. Clarity is often more important than complexity. Many advanced learners try to sound intelligent by using very complex structures. Sometimes this works, but often it makes communication less clear. Native speakers value clarity more than sophistication. Micro habits improve clarity by encouraging simple, direct expression. One useful daily habit is simplifying ideas. You take a complex thought and express it clearly. You focus on short, well-structured sentences. This builds strong communication skills. Another helpful habit is summarizing. You read or listen to something short, then explain it in your own words. You can do this out loud or in writing. This trains you to organize information and express it efficiently. Now let's talk about tone and naturalness. At C1 and C2 levels, grammar mistakes are usually minor. The bigger challenge is sounding natural. Tone, rhythm, and word choice matter more than rules. A powerful micro habit for tone is imitation. You choose a short audio clip and repeat it exactly as you hear it. You focus on stress, pauses, and intonation. You don't rush. You allow your mouth to adjust. Over time, This changes how you sound without conscious effort. Another important habit is noticing transitions. Advanced speakers use transitions to guide listeners smoothly from one idea to the next. Words like however, therefore, and on the other hand help structure ideas clearly. They guide the listener. They show contrast, cause, and direction. A simple micro-habit is choosing one transition per day and using it in a sentence about your own life. This small practice builds advanced fluency naturally, without pressure. Now let's address mental resistance. Even small habits can feel difficult sometimes. Resistance often appears when learning feels boring or repetitive. This is completely normal. The solution is not to stop. The solution is to change the angle. You can rotate your micro-habits. One day, you focus on listening. Another day, you focus on speaking. Another day, you focus on writing. The habit stays small, but the activity changes. This keeps engagement high while protecting consistency. You can also connect habits to your personal interests. If you like technology, listen to short tech discussions. If you enjoy psychology, read short reflections. If you like business, listen to short interviews. Interest increases attention, and attention improves learning. Now let's talk about self-trust, because this is a major issue for advanced learners. Many learners do not trust their own English. They constantly look for correction or validation. While feedback is helpful, too much dependence can slow growth. Micro-habits build self-trust through repetition. When you speak every day, you become familiar with your own voice in English. This familiarity reduces fear. You start trusting your instincts. And this trust is a key step toward advanced fluency. Now let's talk about measuring progress, because this can feel confusing. At advanced levels, progress is subtle. You may not notice improvement week by week. This can feel discouraging. Instead of measuring outcomes, measure behavior. Ask yourself, did I show up today? Did I use English today? This shift keeps motivation stable. Over time, outcomes follow naturally. Another important sign of progress is ease. English starts to feel lighter. You hesitate less. You recover faster after mistakes. These are real improvements, even if they are hard to measure. Now let's connect micro-habits to long-term growth. Small actions compound. 5 minutes a day becomes hours over months. Those hours shape intuition. And intuition is what separates advanced speakers from intermediate ones. Advanced fluency is not about knowing rules. It is about feeling what sounds right. Micro-habits train this feeling through daily exposure and use. Now let's talk about balance. Some learners focus only on input. Others focus only on output. The best approach is balance. Micro-habits make balance easy. You can design one habit for listening, one habit for speaking. Each habit stays small and manageable. For example, 5 minutes of listening in the morning, 3 minutes of speaking in the evening. This simple routine can transform your English over time. Now let's talk about patience. Micro-habits require patience. Results are not dramatic at first. This can feel uncomfortable in a world that values fast results. But patience creates depth. Depth creates confidence. When you stop rushing, you start noticing details. You notice how ideas flow. You notice how speakers soften opinions. You notice how agreement and disagreement are expressed politely. These details matter at C1 and C2 levels. Now let's think about obstacles. Life will interrupt your habits. Some days will be busy. Some days you will feel tired. Micro-habits are designed for these days. You do not need to catch up. You simply continue the next day. Consistency is not perfection. Consistency is return. Every time you return, the habit becomes stronger. Another obstacle is comparison. You might compare yourself to native speakers or other learners. This creates pressure. Micro-habits shift focus inward. You compete only with yesterday's effort. This mindset is healthier and more productive. Now let's talk about enjoyment. Learning should not feel like punishment. Micro habits allow enjoyment because they are short and flexible. You can stop before frustration appears. This keeps your relationship with English positive. Enjoyment leads to curiosity. Curiosity leads to exploration. Exploration leads to mastery. Over time, something surprising happens. You stop thinking about fluency. You stop chasing it. Instead, you experience it in moments. You express yourself clearly in a conversation. You understand a joke. You explain a complex idea smoothly. These moments are signs of real progress. This is why micro habits are more powerful than goals. Goals live in the future. Habits live in the present. And growth happens in the present. Now let's explore how to design micro habits that fit your personality and daily life. One common mistake advanced learners make is choosing habits that feel unnatural. For example, a shy person may try to speak in front of a group every day. This habit is too big. It creates resistance. A micro habit should feel easy, almost impossible to avoid. The easier it feels, the more consistent you become. Think about your natural routines. Do you make coffee every morning? Do you take a short walk in the afternoon? Do you check your phone before bed? Each moment is an opportunity. You might listen to English for 3 minutes while making coffee. Describe your walk out loud in English. Write one English sentence before sleeping. The key is simple. The habit must fit seamlessly into your life. Finally, remember this principle: repetition without judgment. When you do your micro habit, do not judge yourself. If you make a mistake, it does not matter. If the sentence feels awkward, it does not matter. The action is what matters. Your brain learns through doing, not through criticism. And this is how real, lasting fluency is built quietly, patiently, and daily. Over time, mistakes become less frequent and less important. The habit builds real competence without stress. Now let's explore another important element: tracking. Even micro habits benefit from tracking. But tracking should stay simple. You don't need complex charts, apps, or systems. A small checklist is enough. Each time you complete your habit, you mark it. That's all. Seeing progress visually reinforces consistency. This simple feedback teaches your brain to associate the habit with completion and success. Over time, this creates momentum. Now, let's look more closely at habit stacking. Micro habits become more powerful when you attach them to actions you already do. For example, after brushing your teeth, you say one English sentence. When you open your computer, you read a short English paragraph. After making tea, you listen to English for 2 minutes. These small connections create a chain of behaviors. Over time, this chain becomes automatic. You no longer rely on motivation. The habit is embedded in your daily routine. Now let's talk about input and output balance. Input includes listening, reading, observing how English is used. Output includes speaking, writing, expressing your own ideas. Advanced learners often spend too much time on input and avoid output. Micro habits gently solve this problem. For example, you listen to a short podcast in the morning. In the evening, you speak for 2 minutes about what you heard. This creates a complete learning cycle every day without overload. Now, let's discuss mental framing. How you think about your habit affects how it feels. Instead of saying, "I have to do this habit," say, "I choose to do this habit." This small shift removes pressure. It increases your sense of control. You are no longer trapped by a goal. You are actively choosing your growth. Now, let's explore the emotional side of micro habits. At advanced levels, learners often feel self-conscious. They worry about mistakes. They fear judgment. Micro habits reduce this fear. Speaking one sentence, writing one paragraph, or listening for a few minutes is low risk. Because the risk is low, fear does not activate strongly. Over time, repeated low-risk practice builds emotional resilience. Gradually, you become comfortable using English in more demanding situations, naturally. Now let's talk about identity-based habits. Your brain connects actions with identity. If you see yourself as someone who practices English every day, your behavior begins to align automatically. Micro-habits strengthen this identity. Eventually, you stop asking, "Am I doing enough?" Instead, you think, "I am someone who uses English." And identity begins to drive behavior effortlessly. Now, let's examine habit sequencing. Micro-habits do not exist alone. They support each other. Listening improves vocabulary. Vocabulary improves speaking. Writing reinforces grammar. Grammar improves reading. When you design habits that complement each other, you create a self-reinforcing system. Progress happens quietly, without dramatic effort. Now let's discuss the idea of the minimum viable habit. This is the smallest version of a habit that still works. The minimum habit removes excuses. It reduces procrastination. If a habit feels too big, you hesitate. If it feels too complex, you overthink. The minimum habit ensures one thing: you show up every day. And showing up is the most important factor in long-term growth. Now let's look at some practical examples for advanced learners. One powerful habit is sentence of the day. Every morning, you write or say one advanced sentence about your life, an opinion, or an observation. You focus on clear structure, strong connectors, precise language. This habit takes only a few minutes, but it has a strong impact on thinking and expression. Another effective habit is shadowing. You repeat one sentence from a podcast, interview, or talk. You match rhythm, stress, and intonation. Over time, pronunciation and fluency improve, subtly but powerfully. Another useful habit is reflection. Every evening, you reflect on one interaction or idea in English. You describe what you learned, what surprised you, how you felt. This reflection can be spoken or written. It takes very little time, but it has deep cognitive benefits. Now let's talk about habit resilience. Life is unpredictable. You may travel. You may get busy. You may feel exhausted. Micro-habits are designed for these moments. On busy days, you do the smallest version. On easy days, you can expand naturally. Continuity matters more than intensity. Missing one day does not destroy progress. Returning the next day strengthens commitment. Finally, let's talk about enjoyment. Micro-habits work best when they are enjoyable or at least neutral. Enjoyment creates sustainability. When the habit feels light, you keep going. And when you keep going, growth becomes inevitable. You can always choose content or activities that genuinely interest you. If you enjoy technology, listen to short tech discussions. If you enjoy culture, read or summarize short cultural articles. If you like business, psychology, or daily life topics, choose those. Interest increases attention, and attention increases learning efficiency. Now let's look at compounding effects. Micro-habits compound quietly. 5 minutes a day may feel insignificant, but over 1 month it becomes hours. Over 1 year, it becomes hundreds of hours. These accumulated hours create deep, implicit learning. Implicit learning is what allows advanced learners to understand nuance, tone, and style effortlessly. It allows you to express complex ideas naturally without constantly thinking about grammar or vocabulary. Now consider real social use. Micro-habits prepare you for real situations. Speaking one sentence every day prepares you for conversations. Listening for 3 minutes daily improves comprehension. Writing one short reflection prepares you for emails, messages, or reports. Each micro-habit strengthens practical communication, not just theoretical knowledge. Now let's talk about feedback. Micro-habits allow gentle, natural feedback. When you record yourself speaking one sentence, you notice small pronunciation or structure improvements over time. When you reread your writing, you notice better word choice or clearer grammar. These observations guide your growth quietly, without pressure. Feedback becomes natural, not forced. Another key idea is scaling habits. Once a micro-habit feels automatic, you can expand it slowly. 1 minute of speaking becomes 3 minutes. 3 minutes becomes 5. 5 becomes 10. One paragraph of writing becomes a short page. Expansion feels natural because the foundation is already strong. You do not need extra motivation. The habit grows on its own. Now let's talk about focus. Micro-habits encourage focused attention. Short duration prevents fatigue and distraction. It is easier to focus fully for 5 minutes than for 1 hour. Focused attention accelerates learning. The brain processes information more efficiently when attention is clear. Long sessions without focus are often less effective. Now let's talk about autonomy. Micro-habits give control back to the learner. You choose what to practice, when to practice, how to practice. This autonomy strengthens internal motivation. You practice because you want to, not because a teacher, app, or goal forces you. Autonomy leads to long-term commitment. Let's summarize. Micro-habits are small, easy, repeatable actions. They build identity, consistency, and long-term transformation. They reduce fear, pressure, and guilt. They balance input and output. They allow focus, reflection, and gradual scaling. They transform advanced English learners quietly and effectively. Now let's move into specific micro-habits that advanced learners can use to improve every skill naturally. We will start with listening, because listening supports speaking, reading, and even writing. One powerful habit is focused listening. Choose a short podcast, news clip, or video. Listen deeply for just 5 minutes. Pay attention to rhythm, intonation, how sentences connect. Do not worry about understanding every word. Your brain will recognize patterns naturally. Another strong habit is repeated listening. Choose one short clip and listen to it again on different days. Each time, comprehension improves slightly. You notice vocabulary, pronunciation, and flow. Repetition builds memory and creates intuitive understanding for speaking. Now let's talk about speaking habits. One simple but powerful habit is shadowing. You listen to a sentence and repeat it exactly as you hear it. You focus on stress, rhythm, and pronunciation. Do not rush. Even one sentence a day can improve oral fluency over time. Another speaking habit is narration. Describe one moment from your day out loud in English. You don't need an audience. You don't need perfect grammar. This habit trains your brain to produce English naturally and strengthens thinking in the language. Now let's talk about writing micro-habits. Writing one sentence or one short paragraph a day strengthens grammar, vocabulary, and clarity. A useful habit is sentence upgrading. You take a simple sentence and make it more detailed. For example, I went to the store. Becomes, I went to the store this morning because I needed to buy fresh ingredients for dinner. This improves sophistication without overwhelming effort. Now let's look at reading habits. Reading supports listening and writing. A simple habit is reading one paragraph a day from an article, blog, or book. Focus on the main idea. One new word or phrase. Try to use that new expression in speaking or writing later. This turns passive vocabulary into active language. Now let's talk about thinking in English. Many advanced learners still translate in their head. This is normal, but it slows fluency. A powerful micro-habit is internal narration. Describe your thoughts, plans, or decisions in English, silently or out loud, for a few minutes each day. Start simple. Expand gradually. This trains your mind to process ideas directly in English. Another thinking habit is summarizing. After reading, listening, or watching something, summarize it in your own words. You can speak or write the summary. This improves comprehension, memory, and expression at the same time. Now let's talk about pronunciation and intonation. At C1 and C2 levels, grammar is usually strong. The bigger challenge is sounding natural. A daily habit is imitation. Choose a short audio clip. Repeat it exactly as the speaker says it. Focus on stress patterns, rhythm, intonation. Over time, your speech becomes more natural without conscious effort. Do not try to imitate everything at once. One sentence per day is enough. When you practice slowly, your mouth and ears adjust naturally. Over time, your pronunciation becomes more authentic and comfortable. Another helpful pronunciation habit is recording yourself. Choose one sentence or one short paragraph and record it. Listen carefully to your voice. Notice where your pronunciation sounds different from native speech. Repeat the sentence until it feels smoother and more natural. Recording is low pressure because you are your only audience. There is no judgment and no stress. This habit builds awareness and helps you correct small errors quietly and effectively. Now let us talk about vocabulary. Many advanced learners collect a lot of words, but rarely use them. Micro habits solve this problem by combining learning with real use. Each day, choose one new word or phrase. Use it in a sentence about your own life. Speak it, write it, repeat it several times. Over weeks, words move from passive recognition to active use. This creates deeper fluency than memorization alone. Now let us explore habits that improve comprehension in complex situations. Advanced learners often struggle with fast conversations, idioms, and cultural references. One simple micro-habit is listening for one new expression or idiom per day. Write it down. Learn its meaning. Use it in a sentence. This small habit gradually builds understanding of subtle language features. Another powerful habit is paraphrasing. After reading or listening to something, restate it in your own words. You can speak or write your version. This trains flexibility in thinking and expression. Now let us talk about confidence. Confidence grows through repeated safe experiences. Speaking one sentence daily, listening attentively, or writing short reflections are low-risk actions. These actions build familiarity with English. Over time, real conversations feel less stressful and more natural. Micro habits reduce fear by making practice predictable and manageable. Now let us consider consistency. Many advanced learners experience plateaus. Motivation rises and falls. Goals sometimes feel far away. Micro habits keep you connected to English every day without relying on mood. Even a few minutes daily, repeated over months, creates real and visible progress. Now let us talk about flexibility. Life is unpredictable. Some days are busy. Some days are exhausting. Micro habits are designed to adjust. On easy days, you may practice more. On difficult days, you do the minimum. Continuity matters more than intensity. Missing one day does not break your progress. Returning the next day strengthens the habit. Now let us explore habit stacking. Attach your English practice to something you already do. Listen to English while making coffee. Speak English while commuting. Write one sentence before sleeping. Habit stacking integrates English into daily life naturally. This reduces resistance and makes practice automatic. Another important principle is identity reinforcement. Each micro habit strengthens your identity as an English user. You stop relying on motivation. You act based on who you are becoming. Over time, you naturally see yourself thinking, speaking, and expressing ideas in English. Now let us talk about enjoyment. Learning should not feel like punishment. Micro habits allow low-pressure practice that can be enjoyable. Choose topics you like. If you enjoy technology, listen to tech discussions. If you enjoy culture, read or summarize cultural content. Enjoyment increases attention. Attention improves learning. Now let us examine compounding effects. Micro habits are small, but they grow silently. 5 minutes a day becomes hours in a month. Over a year, it becomes hundreds of hours. This accumulated time creates deep learning and implicit understanding. Implicit learning allows advanced learners to understand nuance, tone, and style effortlessly. It allows natural expression without translation or hesitation. Now let us look at real-world application. Micro habits prepare you for daily conversations, professional communication, and social interaction. Speaking one sentence daily prepares you for conversations. Listening daily improves comprehension. Writing and reflection prepare you for emails, reports, and presentations. Each habit strengthens practical skills, not just theory. Now let us talk about feedback. Recording yourself, reviewing your writing, or comparing your speech to native models provides gentle feedback. These small corrections accumulate over time. They guide improvement without stress. Feedback becomes natural and constructive. Finally, let us talk about scaling and growth. Once a micro habit is fully embedded, it grows naturally. 1 minute of speaking becomes 3, then 5, then 10. One sentence of writing becomes a paragraph, then a page. Growth does not require motivation. It follows repetition and consistency. Micro habits also encourage focused attention. Short practice sessions allow deep concentration. Focused attention accelerates learning. This is how Fluent English journey becomes sustainable, natural, and long-lasting. Short practice sessions prevent fatigue and distraction. When your practice is short, your attention stays strong. Focused attention accelerates learning. Long sessions without attention are far less effective. Micro habits make sure that every minute of practice truly counts. Autonomy is equally important. Micro habits give you control over what you practice, when you practice, and how you practice. This sense of control strengthens intrinsic motivation. You practice because you choose to, not because a teacher, deadline, or goal forces you. This choice creates long-term commitment. In conclusion, micro habits are small, easy, and repeatable actions. They build identity, consistency, confidence, and deep learning. They reduce fear and pressure. They balance input and output. They allow focus, reflection, and natural scaling. Over time, micro habits transform advanced learners quietly and effectively. Now let us continue by exploring how micro habits improve English in professional and social contexts. Many advanced learners struggle in meetings, presentations, interviews, and social gatherings. They know English well, but performance anxiety, fear of mistakes, and pressure to be perfect reduce effectiveness. Micro habits solve this by creating repeated low-pressure experiences. These experiences slowly build real competence and confidence. In professional contexts, one useful micro habit is daily reporting. Each day, take one idea from your work or studies and explain it in English in 1 or 2 sentences. You might describe a task, a problem you solved, or a decision you made. Talking about real situations trains you to use practical vocabulary, connect ideas clearly, and express yourself efficiently. Over time, this habit prepares you naturally for meetings and presentations. Another professional micro habit is email drafting. Write one short email or message in English every day. Focus on clarity, tone, and structure. Use polite expressions and simple connectors to organize your ideas. This habit builds confidence in professional writing and communication. Now let us look at social interaction habits. Micro habits help you feel more relaxed and spontaneous in conversations. One helpful habit is conversation simulation. Imagine a social situation and speak out loud as if you were participating. You can practice greetings, responses, or small talk. This reduces anxiety, increases fluency, and prepares you for real-life situations. Another social habit is idiom practice. Each day, choose one common idiom or everyday expression. Use it in a sentence about your life. Over time, these expressions become part of your active vocabulary. This helps you sound more natural in casual conversations. Now let us talk about cultural awareness. Advanced learners often struggle with cultural references, humor, and implied meaning. One micro-habit is daily observation. Read a short article, watch a short video, or listen to a podcast. Notice cultural references, expressions, or social context. Reflect briefly on how culture shapes meaning. This improves comprehension and helps you respond appropriately in conversations. Another cultural habit is role-playing. Imagine situations like ordering food, giving directions, or responding to a colleague. Speak or write your response in English. This allows safe practice and prepares you for real interactions. Now let us examine grammar and vocabulary integration. Instead of memorizing long lists, choose one structure or word each day. Use it in one sentence about your life. This method combines learning with use. Repeated use strengthens memory and improves accuracy naturally. Now let us focus on pronunciation and natural speech. Many advanced learners pronounce words correctly but struggle with rhythm, stress, and intonation. One micro-habit is sentence intonation practice. Choose one sentence from a podcast or speech. Repeat it while copying the speaker's stress, pauses, and pitch. Daily repetition improves flow and spoken confidence. Another pronunciation habit is minimal pair practice. Choose one difficult sound and practice it in just one or two words. For example, ship and sheep. This small focus corrects errors gradually without overwhelming effort. Now let us explore reading comprehension and critical thinking. One habit is reading one short article or opinion piece each day. Summarize the main idea, supporting points, and conclusion in your own words. This trains comprehension, analysis, and clear expression. Another habit is questioning. After reading or listening, ask one question in English. For example, why did the author choose this argument? Or how would I respond differently? This habit builds critical thinking and active engagement with English. Now let us explore spontaneous speaking. Many learners speak well in prepared situations, but hesitate in free conversation. One powerful micro-habit is daily improvisation. Choose a simple topic and speak freely for 1 minute. Do not plan. Do not correct yourself too much. This habit trains quick thinking, natural expression, and fluency under pressure. Over time, speaking becomes easier, smoother, and more confident. This is how Fluent English journey supports real communication, not just study. Choose one topic and speak for 1 minute without preparing. The topic does not need to be complex. You can describe your day. You can give simple advice. You can share an opinion about something you like or dislike. This practice trains your mind to produce English quickly. It reduces hesitation. It improves flexibility in expression. Another useful habit is dialogue simulation. Imagine a conversation with a friend, a colleague, or even a stranger. You can speak both sides of the conversation. If you have a language partner, you can practice together. If you are alone, this habit still works very well. Dialogue simulation builds conversational structure. It improves response timing. It increases confidence in real interactions. Now let us discuss listening comprehension under real conditions. Many advanced learners understand clear and slow speech. However, they struggle with accents, fast speech, or background noise. One helpful habit is accent exposure. Each day, listen to a short clip from a different English accent. Do not try to understand every word. Focus on general meaning. Notice pronunciation patterns and rhythm. Over time, this habit increases listening flexibility. It prepares you for global communication. Another habit is contextual listening. Listen to English in real-life contexts such as customer service calls, lectures, interviews, or meetings. Pay attention to vocabulary, tone, and speaker intention. Daily exposure improves practical comprehension. It prepares you for professional and social situations. Now let us explore thinking and reasoning in English. Many advanced learners think complex thoughts in their native language. This slows down expression in English. One powerful habit is thought journaling. Spend 5 minutes reflecting on a situation, decision, or idea in English. You can write or speak freely. Focus on clarity, coherence, and nuance. This habit strengthens thinking directly in English. Another thinking habit is debate simulation. Choose a simple statement or question. Argue both sides in English. This practice develops flexibility, vocabulary, and advanced reasoning. Even short daily practice improves persuasive speaking naturally. Now let us talk about long-term motivation. Motivation often rises and falls. Micro habits reduce dependence on motivation. Because habits are small and easy, you can do them even on low-energy days. Each small success creates a sense of progress. Tracking habits helps. Seeing completed days builds momentum. Noticing small improvements creates a positive feedback loop. Another motivation strategy is habit pairing. Pair an English micro habit with something you enjoy. For example, listen to English while exercising. Speak English while cooking. Enjoyment reduces resistance. Consistency becomes easier. Now let us consider emotional resilience. Advanced learners often feel frustration, embarrassment, or self-doubt. Micro habits reduce these feelings. Daily low-pressure practice builds familiarity and comfort. Speaking, listening, writing, and reflecting become normal activities. Over time, you approach real conversations with calm confidence. Now let us explore integrated micro habits. One example is integrated practice. Listen to a short clip. Summarize it in writing. Then speak your summary out loud. This habit strengthens listening, writing, and speaking together. It reflects how fluent speakers naturally process language. Another integrated habit is storytelling. Each day, tell a short story about your day, an experience, or an opinion. Focus on vocabulary, sentence flow, and expression. This habit builds fluency, coherence, and confidence. It also makes practice meaningful and personal. Now let us talk about review and reinforcement. Advanced learners sometimes forget subtle grammar or vocabulary. Micro habits help prevent this. One habit is review repetition. Each day, revisit one sentence or phrase from previous practice. Repeat it aloud or rewrite it. This strengthens memory and increases retention. Another habit is error reflection. When you notice a mistake, note it briefly. Then correct it in a new sentence. This habit encourages learning without fear. Mistakes become tools, not obstacles. Finally, let us look at long-term transformation. Micro habits are small, consistent, and manageable. They reduce stress, anxiety, and fear of failure. They integrate English into daily life naturally. They strengthen identity, confidence, and practical competence. They compound quietly over time. By focusing on daily action instead of distant goals, you create real and lasting improvement. Let us continue by exploring how micro habits can transform advanced learners' English in travel and everyday life situations. When you travel, speak with locals, or move through new environments, confidence and fluency become very important. Micro habits prepare you for these moments naturally, without pressure or stress. One helpful habit is daily situational practice. Each day, imagine a simple travel situation. For example, ordering food, asking for directions, or checking into a hotel. You speak or write your response in English. Even one sentence per day is enough. Over time, these small practices build strong real-life skills. When the situation happens for real, your brain already knows what to do. Another useful travel habit is question practice. Think of one question you might need in a new place. For example, where is the nearest pharmacy? How do I get to the train station? Practice saying the question out loud. Repeat this habit daily with different questions. This builds automatic responses and reduces hesitation in real conversations. Now let us look at social media and digital communication. Many advanced learners read, post, and comment in English online, but they often feel unsure about tone or structure. One simple micro habit is daily post practice. Each day, write one short comment, reply, or post in English. Focus on clarity, grammar, and a natural tone. This habit improves writing, vocabulary, and cultural awareness of online communication. Another digital habit is short daily reading. Read one short article, blog post, or social media update in English. Then summarize it mentally or in 1 or 2 sentences. Pay attention to useful expressions and common phrases. This habit strengthens comprehension and exposes you to natural language. Now let us talk about advanced conversation skills. Real conversations are dynamic and unpredictable. Micro habits help you prepare for this reality. One effective habit is topic rotation. Each day, choose one topic such as work, hobbies, culture, or current events. Speak about it for 1 or 2 minutes. This trains your brain to organize ideas quickly. Over time, your fluency and adaptability improve. Another habit is listening and responding. Listen to a short audio clip or read a short paragraph. Then respond in English with your opinion, question, or observation. This habit connects understanding with expression. It improves real-time language processing and conversational confidence. Now let us explore style and tone. Advanced learners often know grammar but struggle with nuance. One helpful habit is tone practice. Each day, take one sentence and say it in different tones. You can try formal, casual, enthusiastic, or polite versions. This builds flexibility and helps you sound appropriate in different situations. Another habit is paraphrasing. Choose one idea and express it in 2 or 3 different ways. This improves clarity, variety, and fluency. Over time, your English becomes more natural and expressive. Now let us consider critical thinking and problem solving. At advanced levels, English is not only about speaking correctly. It is also about thinking clearly. One habit is daily problem reflection. Take a small issue from your day and describe it in English. Explain the problem and suggest possible solutions. This habit strengthens logical thinking and advanced vocabulary. Another habit is opinion expression. Choose a simple statement or question and share your view in English. Focus on clear structure and reasoning. Even a short response each day builds confidence and depth. Now let us talk about cultural fluency. Understanding idioms, humor, and social rules is essential. One habit is daily idiom practice. Choose one idiom, learn its meaning, and use it in a sentence about your life. Over time, informal English becomes easier to understand. Another habit is cultural observation. Watch, read, or listen to real English content. Notice social behaviors, humor, or conversation style. Reflect briefly in English. This builds awareness of context and meaning. Now let us look at memory reinforcement. Even advanced learners forget words and expressions. One habit is retrieval practice. Each day, recall one word or sentence from earlier practice. Use it in a new sentence. This strengthens memory and active usage. Another habit is spaced repetition. Rotate vocabulary and expressions over days and weeks. Use them in speaking or writing. This prevents forgetting and builds automatic fluency. Now let us discuss fluency under pressure. Many learners hesitate in fast conversations or presentations. One habit is time speaking. Choose a topic and speak for 1 minute without preparing. Focus on clarity and flow. Gradually increase the time. This builds confidence and reaction speed. Another habit is interruption practice. During practice, pause and imagine someone interrupting you. Then respond calmly and continue. This trains adaptability and composure in real situations. Finally, let us talk about collaboration and teamwork. English is often used in group work and international settings. One habit is daily cooperative practice. Write a short email, plan, or idea in English. If possible, discuss it with a partner or language buddy. This builds professional communication skills. Another habit is feedback application. Each day, review one piece of feedback from your speaking or writing. Apply one small improvement in your next practice. This creates continuous progress without stress. This habit builds adaptability, quick response, and continuous improvement over time. Now let us explore micro habits for advanced pronunciation and accent refinement. At C1 and C2 levels, even very small pronunciation details matter. One helpful habit is focus sound practice. Each day, choose one sound that feels difficult for you. Practice a few words that contain this sound. Pay attention to mouth movement, rhythm, and clarity. You do not need to practice for long. Even 2 or 3 minutes is enough. Another useful habit is connected speech practice. Take one short sentence and practice linking the words naturally. First, say it slowly. Then repeat it again, slightly faster each time. This habit improves fluency and helps your speech sound smoother and more natural. Now let us move to advanced vocabulary and collocation mastery. One powerful habit is collocation practice. Each day, choose one common word and use it with natural word partners. For example, make a decision, take responsibility, gain insight. Use these combinations in a sentence about your own life. Over time, your vocabulary starts to sound more native and natural. Another helpful habit is word family expansion. Choose one word and explore its related forms. Look at the verb, noun, adjective, and adverb forms. Use each form in a simple sentence. This habit strengthens flexibility and expressive range. Now let us talk about listening to fast or complex speech. One effective habit is selective listening. Listen to a short audio clip and focus only on the main ideas. Pay attention to keywords and connectors. Do not worry about every detail. Gradually, your brain becomes faster at understanding natural speech. Another listening habit is predictive listening. Before listening, guess what the content might be about. Use the title, topic, or context to predict ideas. Then listen and check your predictions. This habit improves comprehension speed and real-time understanding. Now let us explore advanced expression in speaking and writing. One useful habit is sentence expansion. Start with a very simple sentence. Then slowly add details such as adjectives, connectors, and reasons. For example, I read a book. Becomes, yesterday evening, I read an interesting book about modern technology because I wanted to learn new ideas. This habit develops complexity without pressure. Another strong habit is opinion elaboration. Take one simple opinion and explain it clearly. Give reasons. Add one example. Finish with a short conclusion. This builds coherence, persuasion, and confident expression. By practicing these habits daily, even in very small amounts, advanced learners strengthen all essential skills. These skills are needed for professional life, social situations, and travel. Micro habits create deep and sustainable progress. They work without stress, fear, or dependence on motivation. Over time, fluency begins to feel natural and effortless. As we reach the conclusion of today's message, remember this important idea. Real progress in English does not come from chasing big goals alone. It comes from small, consistent actions repeated every day. Micro habits allow you to practice even when life is busy or energy is low. They reduce pressure. They build confidence. They make learning feel natural and enjoyable. Through daily micro habits, you improve listening, speaking, reading, and writing together. You refine pronunciation. You expand vocabulary. You develop cultural understanding. You train your brain to think in English. You respond faster in conversations. You express yourself with clarity and confidence. The results may not appear immediately, but with patience and consistency, change becomes inevitable. Small actions compound. 5 minutes a day becomes hours over a month. Those hours quietly transform your English. Trust the process. Embrace repetition. Focus on showing up every day. Your English journey is personal, and micro habits allow you to shape it around your lifestyle, interests, and goals. They give you autonomy. They create enjoyment. They slowly turn you into a confident and fluent English user. Keep practicing. Keep experimenting. Keep building your micro habits. One day, you will notice that English feels natural. Fluency feels easy. Confidence feels normal. This is the true power of micro habits. They're small. They're simple. They're repeatable. Yet they transform your English more effectively than chasing big goals ever could. Stay consistent. Stay curious. And keep using English every day. Your future self will thank you for every small effort you make today.